Hi, Vortex. I'm just laughing at myself in case you're wondering. What's the joke? I want to be in on it. You already are. You're watching this channel. You know how silly we are. Dude, this shingles is no fucking joke. I still feel like this part of my body is on fire. So the rash is going away, but it's just as sensitive as it was before. I just don't look like Hellboy anymore. So I guess that's good. That means I'm healing. I just don't feel like I'm healing. But it's okay. Feelings aren't facts. Right? Right. Just because we don't feel a certain way, it doesn't mean that we're wrong. It doesn't mean that anything's wrong, you know? It just means we're uncomfortable. But I think that my gender in particular, that's female, by the way, I think my gender has a really hard time accepting anything painful. We just assume that something's automatically wrong. And that's just not the case, sweetheart. I don't think it's just because of the victim mentality, though. I mean, you can make the case that I have often made that women just naturally go into this. But, you know, our society is encouraging us to do that. That's why if you're not a feminist, it's like it used to be like if you weren't married with children, you were scorned. Now if you're not a feminist, you're scorned. So if you are a wife and a mom, it's like you have to acknowledge the fact that if you choose not to do that, like you're just as important in society. And that's just not true. I mean, well, I don't think that levels of importance are contingent on particular contributions to society. Like, I mean, if you contribute to society in any way that you possibly can, that's still a contribution. It doesn't matter if it's not this specific contribution, you know? Because many people will say that they're contributing in a certain way, but they're really not, you know? I mean, how many people do some sort of like altruistic philanthropist sort of thing, but they're actually running a sex trafficking ring, you know? So they fool the public into thinking they're doing something really nice, but they're actually selling children. Just like there are plenty of people that they might seem like they're married, but, you know, whenever they're around somebody they're attracted to, they take off their wedding ring. So I'm just saying appearances quite often deceive. People like me are frightening to the general public because we tell it like it is. They don't like what it is, so they don't like it when we tell it. You know? That's as simple as it gets. Anytime that you're an honest person, that's why I love Jesus so much, because Jesus would hang out with somebody like me. He'd much rather come to my fucking house, even though it smells like pot. probably ask me to roll in one. And I would. And it'd be the best joint I ever rolled. I'm not very good at rolling joints. I'm insanely good at rolling blunts, though, because I'm part black. I think you already know that. But yeah. I've just been thinking a lot about appearances. This country's obsessed with appearances, and this country's completely duped. We're like the beacon of freedom, but everybody here is a fucking slave. They'll talk about slavery, but the only time they'll talk about slavery is when it happened a long, long time ago. They won't talk about slavery now, mainly because people choose to be a slave. And how many people are beaten off to sex trafficking victims, getting raped for money. Okay? I mean, they're not making money. I mean, I would say that anybody that works in prostitution or whatever the fuck, sex work, they'll call it sex work. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is work. For sure, it's work. But it's not really respectable work, you know? And it just makes me sad that women think so low of themselves that they're gonna justify that. It's just so weird. Like this culture is so fucking weird. It's like the stuff that they bitch about versus the stuff that they go along with. It makes no sense. It's not logical. And it didn't take long for them to do this. Basically, they just convinced everybody to constantly carry around a smartphone. And the smartphone is telling them what to think and how to feel about everything based off of your own insecurity. That algorithm is picking up your insecurity. It's way better than your college professor. But you know, I could never be a feminist because it seemed like these women are just full of self-loathing, you know? And I think that they're bitter and resentful of the fact that they're not conventional women. You don't have to be a conventional woman. You still don't have to be a fucking feminist, you know? I will never understand. Like, I'm gonna be a piece of shit because I don't want to be this boring ass vanilla loser, you know? It's like, why do you have to be anything? Why can't you just exist and like figure it out? I think for a lot of people it's too painful for them to just sit in the moment, sit in this like discomfort, so they have to have something to do. And that's precisely why the phones are so dangerous. And I can only speak for my country because I live here. I'm not going to speak for any other country except doesn't make any sense. I'm an American, okay? We were not ready for this. And the ones that prove that they're not ready are the ones that can't handle this information.